With a word like a prayer, send it out everywhere, it will grow. And the truth of this force leads us back to the source we all know. Live out the best real life.
Welcome, 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 Unity people here and Zoomers. We're so glad to see you. Happy Father's Day. There's a lot going on right now. Yeah.
Hey, kidding.
That's
Israel, Iran, and
everything. Yeah. So I don't think we have any first timers today, but we have Zoomers and all of us here. This is the right place, the right time to be right here. We're a place for you, and we're unapologetically inclusive. And I got a chance to wear my t-shirt yesterday again. There's so much going on in the world, but yesterday was just a wonderful day of community where we marched and just in unison. That bridge, you can't tell it, but that bridge was just filled. Pam, were you there?
No, but I got a video of it.
Okay.
My friend sent me video.
Okay. So, and here we were on the bridge, walking on the walking path, and it was a lot of fun. So now at first, Dave and I were going to sit under the bridge. It's too hot. We're not going up there. And then here it is after we've crossed the bridge, and there we were together. And this is at the beginning of the bridge. Chris was there, and a good friend of his, Laura, and Judy Robinson. And anyway, it was just, and I ran into people I hadn't seen in a while, you know, as you were walking. It was just a fun day. And it really fits our vision and mission of the world. Our vision is this unified and diverse world, embracing divine connection and inclusion for all. And as the events that I've participated in the last couple of weekends, you know, we're living that vision. And our mission is to shine light and peace and love. We're empowering and transforming lives through experiences of service and community. So we've had that community, and we work on our service. So, you know, ever since Reverend Becky helped us form this mission and vision, I think it's really given us that oomph, that direction. So let's create the space for this lovely morning. So we bring to ourselves, we drop our busyness and bring our whole selves to our hearts. Take a breath. And we reach out to our community here on Zoom, everywhere, as we look across the nation and see peaceful gatherings together, remembering who we are. And our teachers, we're going to see today, young children are our teachers. We're our teachers. Of course, we have Jesus the Master and many other ascended masters. So many teachers. And then we raise a little higher, and we've got this beautiful space, our welcoming space that we've really kind of made a home and sacred. And then there's the unity teachings, the 12 powers, all the principles, and we let these be alive in us as we live them in the world. And then we raise our hands to all that is. And lower your hands, open your eyes, and here we are together on this beautiful day. This beautiful day. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. So now that we've created this space, let us affirm our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, the omnipotent. So, Travis, would you please light our candle?
Thank you, Jeannie. Coming out of that part of our service where we light the Christ candle. It says, for every being, the light of Christ shines through each of us, illuminating the world around us. Each of us is a keeper of the light, shining through us to bless each person in each situation we encounter. We light this candle as a symbol of the light of Christ, so we may remember the light that shines in each one of us, no matter where we are.
Thank you so much.
I just want to say one thing, that not only do we hold that light of Christ, but I want to encourage all of us to be light workers.
Yes.
Light workers as we go forth.
Thank you, Travis. Appreciate you. Well, it is Father's Day, so I'm going to let Angela read our daily word.
Good morning. I'm going to be reading from Paul Hasselbeck's Absolute Word today. So today's daily word is Father's Love, and the affirmation is, I share fatherly love with everyone.
Oh, I like that.
A father's love is like no other. I feel the warmth of protection and gentle guidance and inspire myself to live up to its example. A father's love takes many forms. It might mean helping with homework, coaching sports, and teaching of all kinds. It might mean the wise counsel and loving guidance that prepares children to be self-sufficient and ready for the freedom and responsibilities of adulthood. A father's love may come from many earthly sources. No matter who showed me this love, its origin is found on the principle of love. Our innate divinity is the heart of all love, which includes father's love. I pray that all fathers and father figures feel the appreciation of those they teach, love, and protect. May they know the principle of love as they have brought it into the world. So let us say this affirmation together. This one's different. All right, let me, we can read it. Together, I bless those special ones who have shown me Father's love.
Share the one, though, that Paul wrote.
Yeah, the one that Paul wrote is just, I share fatherly love with everyone.
So we bless it and then we share it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. So this is something I used to do, and and anyone who ever wants to add to this, just let me know. That's fun to do that. So I know that I'm very sentimental about my dad. I'm very fortunate in that relationship. But I know that relationships are sometimes complicated. But I'd like to talk about one other father relationship, that is God as Father. And I know that kind of triggers some people. You know, if they don't like that image of God as Father. We Unitics often call Father, Mother, God. And Jesus called on our Father in heaven in his beautiful prayer. And in Aramaic, the Abba is Father, but Avun is our Father. And so the original Aramaic, Avun Debashmaya, and more freely translated, our universal Father, who is everywhere. So Jesus envisioned God's awesome and mighty presence being approached in a childlike way by calling on the presence of Abba. And at that time, it was, they thought of God, the big powerful thing outside of us. But for Jesus to talk about this intimate relationship, well, that was pretty innovative at the time. And it's kind of like our English equivalent of daddy. It's a very intimate word. It is a title of grace, and it conjures up the intimacy, and it takes away that distance between me and God. And as Charles Fillmore said, take it to headquarters. Go directly there. We don't ever need an in-between, a mediator. So approaching God as Abba immediately puts us in intimate communion with the loving presence. And I know when I'm doing centering prayer and you have to have a word that kind of takes you deep into your meditation, I say Abba, 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 Abba over. And it's you can use it in many ways as a chant or whatever. The prayer, the Lord's Prayer, is the very expression and recognition of our oneness and union with God. So there we have it. At no time can there ever be a split or separation from this presence. If I think about Abba, I always have the Father. And you may not see it that way, but I just thought I would give you that little perspective on that. So in unity, we don't always say the Lord's Prayer, but I have read Setting a Trap for God, if you ever want to look at the Aramaic version of the prayer and how it really was meant to be. It's really very interesting. But in unity, we say we are founded on prayer. We have silent unity 24/7, and here's the information to get silent unity. And our prayers are affirmative prayers, and it's sort of like a movement of prayer. We open, we acknowledge God is, but we claim I am, and I know, and I can, and then I appreciate. Because in the prayer, it's kind of a transformative, affirmative process where we claim our divine powers, and then we work them, and we know the outcomes are at hand. So let us take a moment for prayer this morning. So breathe in the power of this moment. I open my mind and my heart in our time together with what we share with one another, with what we learn from one another, with what comes to us in this prayerful moment. As we pray together, let us extend comfort and uplift and empower each other. May we all know our own wholeness, no matter the circumstances. God is absolute peace, presence, and power in the world and in my life. And when I connect in consciousness as we pray together, I just feel that divine presence. It's sort of like a bubbling up. I carry this peaceful realization with me into this day and into my life. I notice that I feel light even when the world sometimes feels dark, as we've had so many things going on around us. Yesterday, we held both things, and that's in our divine hearts. We can hold celebration and mourning at the same time, because that is life. But in our divinity, we are capable of having the strength and understanding and wisdom and love to see us through and to help others. Service and community, yes, that's what we're about. And goodness really prevails. Divine peace is my peace. I embrace life and trust in the protecting, prospering presence of the divine. So as Travis asked us, let us shine light, peace, and love as light workers in the world and claim our powers. And so it is, and so it is.
شمعة دي لاقي للغوصة حين تشبهت ونمول ميلامي حين تشبهت ونمول ميلامي.
So, okay. Thank you. So, all right, we come to our lesson. We've had Father's Day, and now we're going to reckon and rumble with the obstacles. That's our theme for this month, and we're going to do it through story. Okay, so I've got to speak yet again at the end of June, and sometimes it's hard to take these themes and keep going, but I got some inspiration this week. Oh, well, let's review, first of all. So all year long we've been doing this. I'm not going to go through, I go through it so much, but we did power of thought, moments of clarity, intentions, action, and co-creation. And you know what? I realized at any one of these levels, we get obstacles. At any one of them, we can make these obstacles happen. So here we're looking at obstacles. And our affirmation for the month is I turn the boulders along my path into pebbles. Explode it to cushion my journey. Now, as I said, I had a hard time. And then I got this little picture from my granddaughter. She went to Princess Camp this week. And she, and she's looking in this mirror. And I'll show you what the mirror says. It's the Princess motto. I promise to be kind, brave, and always believe in myself. And I love the way Erin was looking into that mirror. And I got to thinking, story, that's it. That's what I'm going to use. And I don't know if y'all recently dealt with young children, but man, they watch those Disney movies and the princess stories over and over and over and over again. And even my daughter, Jillian, when she was little, we went through a divorce when she was 3. She loved the Cinderella story about the stepmother, and we had to read it to her all the time. And it's because these stories allow these children to really work through things. And I claim they're working through a hero's journey. Now, you know, a little person physically growing from baby to toddler is definitely a hero's journey. I mean, learning to roll over, learning to crawl, learning to walk. Can you imagine standing up? That is scary for those little kids. And then on top of all those physical developments comes emotions, and what do you do with them? And Jillian, my daughter, is really dealing with that at 3 years old with Erin, because there are big feelings inside of her, and she doesn't know what to do with them sometimes. But you're becoming self-aware. You're starting to really do that, I guess around 3 or 4, and
Jury's still out, I guess, in that. Some of that. Jury's still out on some of that.
yeah.
And they know a lot about the mind.
So our awareness becomes consciousness. And so here's the hero's journey. And you know, you've heard of this from Joseph Campbell. And there's really 3 acts. The first one is we're just in our ordinary world, but we're called to an adventure. And sometimes we resist going into that adventure. And then we cross the threshold, and we have some tests and lessons. And along the way, we have both enemies and allies, and certainly obstacles. And then we go through an ordeal, but we get through it. And we come out on the other side, and now we've learned something, and we're on the road back. And we have a kind of a transformation. So that is the hero's journey. Now, we know that myths and fables and parables all teach lessons. But what about fairy tales? Now, y'all may roll your eyes and think about, oh, we can't tell children it's happily ever after. But actually, at their level, they've got to know that, yeah, you can work through this. And we're not really promising them, we think we're promising them something else, but that's our adult way of looking at it. For them, they're just going, oh, okay, it's going to be okay. That's all they're thinking, you know. And so I read this book in fact, it came out when my son was born in 1977. It's called The Uses of Enchantment, The Meaning and Importance of Fairy Tales. And a psychiatrist wrote it, Bruno Bettelheim. It's a wonderful book. And he interprets fairy tales, but he also explains the importance of them. Because unlike any other form of literature, they direct a child to discover their identity and calling, and they suggest what experiences are needed to develop character. Fairy tales are really inside jobs. They're working through things in their consciousness and subconsciousness, sort of. They aren't about the world as it is. They are very subtly deal with inner conflicts, presented in a simple way, and they do hold that hope of the happy ending. So I just recently watched the new Snow White, and I don't know if y'all know, they did use AI to make those dwarves, and the movie got panned, kind of. But I watched it, and it was really quite good. Snow White, obviously the animated version is a classic, but then Disney's doing that where it's converting its animation into live action. And so I really kind of recommend it. Chris, we watched it. It wasn't so bad, was it? And it was definitely a hero's journey. And also in fairy tales, there's also kind of a death, so to speak, and then an awakening. And you know how Snow White bites that apple and then wakes up. But then the deal is she has to go back and face the queen. So she really has to integrate what she's learned. And so anyway, fairy tales really can do way more than you think. So they really serve as a bridge between consciousness and subconscious mind. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but there's, archetypes are very important. They resonate with our subconscious, and we're always looking for a resolution of some sort of inner conflict. They depict characters facing and overcoming challenges. I know with Erin, she's real big about witches. You should watch her say the word witches. We got to get the witches, and that's really, really important to her. That's really going on in her mind right now. And it's a way they express fears and desires. And of course they're moral lessons, but then there's that dreamlike quality of fairy tales. That's a magical setting, and it is an improbable event, of course, but it mirrors the way the subconscious mind processes things. I mean, don't we all have dreams, kind of? And we were really, and they may be fantastical, and we're, processing things. Well, I don't want to. This book I recommend it if you ever want to. Just look up what Little Red Riding Hood is all about, and then there's Unusual Tales, like the 3 languages and so forth. But it's really kind of fun. But the point is, the foundation of we have this foundation of story in our lives. It starts early and it keeps going. We humans are a storytelling species. We use story to describe the events of our lives and frame memories, and even craft our personal identities. I believe stories are the narratives of our consciousness. Whatever is going on with us we can have a victim consciousness. I finally got the slide for this instead of the picture. But we have a victim consciousness, or maybe it happens by me, I'm just in it, I'm alongside it, or through me, or as me, and the stories we make up really reflect our levels of consciousness. So on our hero's journey in life, we venture into the unknown, where we experience challenges and meet obstacles. And the drama of the obstacles really become the stories. And as I said, does life happen to you, by you, through you, as you? Now these stories, though, are not set in stone. And Brene Brown has written a book called Rising Strong, dealing with stories. And Rising Strong, there we are. I refer to this all the time. She's got a book, Daring Greatly, before this, and this book, I've got tabs, you can see. I really enjoy it.
She's got a Netflix documentary called too. Like
Really?
Next movie, yeah.
On Rising Strong?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Because, I love the way she talks about reckoning and rumbling and revolution. So first we have a reckoning with the emotions of the story. We have to get really curious about our feelings. And then we get honest about the stories. Because sometimes we have made up stories and they're just, we think they're true, they feel true to us, but maybe not. Maybe we need to relook at some of this. And so we rumble with them. We have to see if we have a blind spot. Can we change our perspective? And so from our rumble, we can get a braver story to change how we engage with the world. And you can see this in many of the, so here's the three processes, which I just talked about. And, we're about transformation here at Unity. So we do have to reckon and rumble with some of these obstacles, because it's the obstacles that are triggering us to make up the story, I claim. Now, she says we are born makers. We are born storytellers. And I love, we move what we're learning from our head, and we might be in a headspace, making it up, but then we need to move it to our heart and then to our hands. And that's so Unity, because we want to really be honest with it and authentic, and then act on what we learn. So, now, this is, Travis will be familiar with this, but I think Pam has gone through this. This is the NVC dance, and you lay out the cards, and the cards, you have observations, feelings, needs, and then you make requests. And this is actually somebody going on that. Now, the reason it's a dance, you guys, is because you start by observing, but okay, this is where you're still making up your story. And in NBC, we call these negative voices, we call them jackals. So you first gotta let the jackals fly. You gotta, maybe you blame, maybe you complain, whatever it is. So you start there, and then you maybe get up to a feeling, and then you maybe have to go back and complain some more and all. So you're going kind of back and forth until you can get to true observations, where it's just the facts, ma'am. And then you start, okay, well, I really felt this way about it, and that's because I had this need for connection, or I was fearful about money, and so I took it out on my family, and I was angry, but I just really had a need for safety and predictability. Okay, I could go on and on, but that's what the dance is. It's going back and forth. It's not a linear move like, oh, I'm going to tell this story and understand it. So that the NBC dance is really important to me. And Brene Brown says you either walk into your story and own your truth, or you live outside of your story and hustle for your worthiness. And that's kind of good. And we get stuck in stories, like when we're not really willing to look at another perspective, we're going to tell that story over and over, and then that just drives our lives. Our minds are compelled to fill in gaps and make meaning and explain why bad things happen and why we can't get around an obstacle, because we really need a consoling story about this obstacle. So we make up stories that tell us who is against us, who is with us, whom can we trust, whom can we not trust. We just make them up, y'all. I know I do it. And they're self-protecting stories, and they can become our default stories. Well, that's where you get stuck. So, and it says the most dangerous stories we make up are the narratives that actually diminish our worthiness. And we've got to reclaim the truth about our lovability, divinity, and creativity. Because a lot of times in those stuck stories, we're really kind of diminishing ourselves, putting ourselves down. So, to rumble and really examine your stories, to catch yourself in what she calls confabulation. Isn't that a good word? It's about making up stuff. Brene Brown suggests using creativity to write down your story. She calls it the SFD. Well, let's see. I guess I got these out of order. No. Wait. well, I guess I didn't put that slide in there, but it's called the stormy first draft or the shitty first draft. And it's kind of like where we start in the NBC dance, where you start with the jackals and letting them fly, and making up stuff. And and then you have to go, okay, I don't really know if that's true. So the difference between what we make up about our experiences and the truth we discover in the rumble is where the meaning and wisdom of the experience meet. The delta holds our key, the change holds our key learnings. We have to be willing to walk into our stories and to rumble.
So is this actually like a therapy or something therapeutic?
Well, Brene Brown is very well known in the study of vulnerability and shame and things like this, yes. So she's a researcher, and she has a background in social studies and psychology. But to me, it speaks of unity. It speaks of unity because it speaks of we create our own experiences. That's principle 3. And so when we make up these stories, that's what we're going to get, and we can change the story. So, and many times we make up stories as though we absolutely know all the facts and we've got the truth. We assign motives and explanations to people as though we really know about them, but we don't. We don't really totally know their experience, their filter. And my experience of who you are is not who you are. I mean, somebody may be triggered and reacting in a certain way, and then you find out something terrible had been going on in their day, and some fear that they've been dealing with, and then that's why they acted that way. But you didn't know that. You didn't know that. And there's many stories like that where we don't really know what the person is. And Brene Brown talks in the book about we can be very generous because, and this is where in unity we see the Christ in you. We behold the best in you. Because in a way people are really doing the best they can at the moment. And according to their consciousness too, So she has this principle of living big. And she asks the question, what boundaries do I need to put in place so I can work from a place of integrity and extend the most generous interpretation of the intentions, words, and actions of others? And that is just straight out unity to me.
Psychological.
Yeah. Well, it is psychological too, but this is what unity, it's living from Christ consciousness to me. And it's living, that generosity is definitely so important, and our integrity. And so she talks about integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. And that right there is principle number 5 in unity. Where does Russ have the principles up? But at any rate, it's walking the walk, as you all know. We meet our we know what our teachings are, and we live them. We live them. So let's check back into the hero's journey. And after we've reckoned and rumbled, we're ready for the revolution. And I know this happened with Pam when we did grok cards. We didn't really do a dance with you, but I know Travis has done the dance. And what happens is, as you're going through this process of getting to the truth of your story and the needs, the feelings and the underlying needs, your universal needs of like connection and peace and being seen and being heard and all of those sorts of needs, when you get down to that, you have this aha moment. And I have seen it over and over and over. Beverly and I taught a course in Dallas a while, it's been a while, but we ran that dance many times, and every time a person went, now I get it. And it just made them
I sure did.
approach. Yeah, and you start approaching your problem.
Yes.
It just changes everything. So, so this is the revolution is a very important step. Now, I have taken us from fairy tales to the stories we tell ourselves, but I want to end with a story about princesses. So, Aaron, this wasn't Princess Camp, but they had this event at a community center where the Disney princesses showed up.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so get a load of this.
Oh, how exciting.
Now look what she's looking at. Here it comes. See the Disney princesses. So excited.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Now,
That word prince is like her enthusiasm, is she?
look, and she's so excited she falls on the ground. She just couldn't contain herself. And we have a million pictures of her with each princess. It's fun. So we adults don't have princesses, but we do have unity teachings, and we do have 12 powers. We have things that we can refer to, and I was gonna go into the princesses. If you look it up, a panoply of princesses, they each have a different kind of characteristic. So they each exhibit strength and faith and love and kindness and courage and all kind. You know, they show the 12 powers in a way, but you know.
What's this book?
Excuse me.
What is the book?
Oh, there's not a book. It's just I looked up the Disney princesses, and I was looking at all of them, and they as they explained each one of the princesses, they noted their characteristics. I said, well, these guys they're just the 12 powers personified, kind of. And so, see, for a young child, well, they can't get the abstract idea of the 12 powers, but when they see it personified and living like that, you know, then they can go to the princess motto like that. But I loved it that she's just so excited about this, and we can be excited too. I don't know that we need to fall to the ground, but I almost do get that excited about unity. I just don't show it that way, I guess. Me.
I felt that excitement right before I saw Stevie Nicks in concert. I was like,
Yeah, see, we've had our moments like that, haven't we? So at any rate, I'm going to read at the end of Brené's book. She has a manifesto of the brave and the brokenhearted. There is no greater threat to the critics and the cynics and the fearmongers than those of us who are willing to fall because we have learned how to rise. Think about that in your life. I think it's you know, I always get back up again, and I've learned how to rise. And I'm looking at so many of you in here, you've learned how to rise. With skinned knees and bruised hearts, we choose owning our stories of struggle over hiding, over hustling, over pretending. When we deny our stories, they define us. When we run from struggle, we're never free. So we turn toward truth and just look it in the eye. We will not be characters in our stories, not villains, not victims, maybe not even heroes. We are the authors, though, of it. Principle number 3, we are the authors of our lives. We write our own daring endings. We craft love from heartbreak, compassion from shame, grace from disappointment, and courage from failure. Showing up is our power. Story is our way home. Truth is our song. We are the brave and brokenhearted, and we are rising strong. So, wow. Oh, so Chris has offered to give us a short meditation, and then I've got another treat for a song.
All right. I have to tell you about my Father's Day just a little bit because my daughter and my granddaughter will be here in about an hour and a little over. I haven't had one of my kids at during Father's Day in years, so that'll be kind of fun. Okay, so enough about me. Let's close our eyes or relax our gaze on something neutral. And let's begin by noticing our breath. Notice the air flowing in through the nostril and the warmer air flowing out. And notice the quiet that comes as we simplify and just notice the breath. Allow your awareness to encompass the sounds that are coming in without judgment. Notice the quiet that the awareness holds. And if you look closely at the awareness, you may notice that it is what is aware of everything, that it is more truly you than your body or thoughts. And if there is an obstacle to relaxing and going deep, accept it. Embrace it whole. And very gently begin to notice the surroundings, just becoming aware of yourself on the seat and aware of this moment in time. And we're going to move into opening our eyes in a moment, but you don't have to totally let go of the stillness or the silence or the peacefulness that you feel. Allow yourself to bring it with you. And whenever you're ready, you're free to open your eyes.